What hint do I give this week of what the show's about? I know. Me.
You gotta fight for your right to be the best monster!
Welcome to Eric and Horror Stories. Eric here, and so sad, RN. So sad, RN. I had the perfect shirt for this episode. I can't find it anywhere. If you couldn't tell from the clue, this week we're talking a little about Godzilla and a little about big movie coming up later this month. King Kong versus Godzilla. Can't wait. Very excited. Huge monster movie fan. Especially big fan of the big lizard, Godzilla. And I have this fantastic Godzilla shirt that I like so much that it actually used to be my Tinder profile picture back in my Tinder days. And I'm not making that up. So all you Tinder matches of mine out there watching, I'm sure you remember that. Just kidding. I didn't have any Tinder matches. I mean, come on. Who would swipe this right? Was it right? I think so. Gonna be a lot of opinioning this week, so I'll go ahead and give the disclaimer. Thoughts and opinions expressed on this channel are my own. If you disagree, you are wrong. So let's get into it. First, a little history of the two combatants. King Kong's actually been around the longest, a long time in fact, getting on, 90 years or so. The movie first came out in 1933. There was some source I looked at, which of course is very subjective, that it was the fourth greatest horror movie of all time. And at the time, I think it was a horror movie. Now, in retrospect, I don't know. Monster movies are in the horror movie genre. And whatever list I looked at also had the 46th greatest film, period. And I don't know about that. It's hard to judge movies that old versus modern movies. It certainly was amazing. The stop motion and everything they used in that, the effects for the time, probably mind-blowing, honestly. Mind-bottling. It's like your mind's in a bottle. I love Blades of Glory. But, yeah, so King Kong, absolute classic movie. They've remade it a couple times. Once was in the 70s. I actually have the record album from that. The LP kids used to put these on something called a turntable, and it would play music. And this is the remake soundtrack I picked up at some point in time. Cool stuff, that. And so just recently, too, they've been making King Kong movies. They just had Kong Skull Island, which I honestly hadn't even watched until a couple weeks ago because I didn't want to do this video and not know anything about the King Kong stuff. But it was pretty good. I liked it. It was strange seeing Loki and Scarlet Witch fighting a giant monkey instead of being Avengers-related people. But neat movie. I dug it. And that's about... I don't have a lot of knowledge about King Kong, not going to lie. I've always been a Godzilla guy. When I was little, I had the most amazing Godzilla figures. I believe a Toho made pretty big plastic Godzilla. I've got a picture somewhere of when I got it for Christmas. If I can find it, I'll pop it up here. But I'll also pop up, this is what it is, if I can't find a picture of mine. And they're on eBay, but they're a few $100, and I don't know if I can afford one. But it was so cool. It had a button, and its fist would fly off because Godzilla's fist would fly off. I don't know. And then it had a little thing on the back of its neck where a flame thing would come out. I think his tail came off because, again, I don't know. It was cool. I loved it as a kid. I'd love to have one now. I'm sure eventually I'll drop $300 on one because what you gonna do? Godzilla swag, we're on the subject of that. So before we get into Godzilla's history, just keep on rolling with that. I have a bunch of Godzilla stuff in boxes and stuff, and I can't find anything for the video I'm doing about Godzilla, but I want to do this before the movie comes out. So I've had this forever. Cool little Godzilla figure. I have no idea where this came from. It's a picture of the Chattanooga area, and I grew up in Chattanooga, and I'm still in the Chattanooga area, but it's a picture of downtown Chattanooga, and it's this Godzilla figure. I don't think this one specifically, but it's the same one, destroying Chattanooga. And I don't know how they did it. This was way, way, way before Photoshop. I mean, it was when I was little. And it's really neat. I had it in my cubicle at my previous job. I still have it somewhere, but I don't know where that is either. So, and I don't even have a picture of it I can show you. I think it's one of a kind, but maybe if I find it before I edit this all the way, I'll show it. But I don't think I have it. And I've got lots of figures like this. This is one of the remakes. You stick your hand up inside Godzilla and it says stuff, but he probably doesn't anymore. No, this is one of the remakes. Not the greatest movie, honestly, but this figure's pretty badass. So I like that. Like I had the King Kong album. This is from when I was really little. Godzilla King of the Monsters, pretty bad shape, but still the original record. This is like Stories of Godzilla. It's not Godzilla sings the hits or anything. That could be a hit song. Come find me, music producers. Anyway, that's some of the Godzilla swag I have handy. And now, we should talk about the history of Godzilla, correct? Let's get into it. Godzilla came along just over 20 years after King Kong. The original movie Gojira, Japanese movie, came out in 1954, and 2 years later, the Americanized version with Raymond Burr came out in 1956. And the Godzilla series has been prolific. In fact, I believe it is the longest running film franchise from when it started. As far as I know, there have been 33 Godzilla movies made so far. 5 or 6 of them were good. There's some pretty brutal ones, some pretty crazy, obvious, just guy in a costume not caring Godzilla, but all awesome in their own way. I do have this DVD set that's pretty cool. Has about 9 or 10 of them on there. Does have the original Gojira and Godzilla King of the Monsters, the first two, the Japanese and the American version. Some quality stuff here, a lot of fun. If you can find this set, Godzilla Collection, I'm sure it's on Amazon or whatever. I've had this for a while. And I have some others, like the most recent Godzilla movies and all that. Godzilla's been rebooted a few times too. Most of the time, The more recent one's not too bad. The first one from a few years ago had Bryan Cranston in it, and I think Aaron Taylor Murray is the guy's name. Kick-Ass, the guy from Kick-Ass. It was pretty good, and the Godzilla King of the Monsters was really good too. I like those. Godzilla with modern effects is amazing. So, Godzilla, obviously this huge, ancient, radioactive sea creature against King Kong, the giant monkey. So, now I am really looking forward to King Kong versus Godzilla. I'm not exactly sure how this shakes down or how they've made this a level playing field, because on paper or whatever, and I know these aren't real characters, but still, it seems like King Kong would have no chance whatsoever. I don't know if they make him a lot bigger. In the movies, he doesn't seem to be near as big as Godzilla. Godzilla has radiation breath, the whip crack, whip it tail, whip crack with his whip it tail. Tenacious D fans, and it just seems like Godzilla would stomp a mud hole in King Kong's ass. Kind of like, I don't know if you saw Godzilla 1985, one of those remake movies at the very beginning, or maybe it was the end, had a cartoon, Bambi versus Godzilla. It was just this little black and white cartoon. Spoiler alert! It just shows Bambi sitting there eating grass or whatever while the credits roll, then all of a sudden Godzilla's foot comes down and squishes Bambi, and that's the entire cartoon. And I kind of feel like if they played it the way we know it, that's what Godzilla would do to King Kong, and he should. Godzilla is so much cooler than King Kong. Godzilla, just this force of nature, lizard, crazy monster, radioactive, breathing, tail swinging, swimming and growling and... I mean, how cool is Godzilla's sound? What does King Kong do? Godzilla beats King Kong in every possible way. I know King Kong's America and Godzilla's Japanese, but all the best stuff's from Japan, right? Like they said in Back to the Future, come on, Doc, all the best stuff's made in Japan. Well, Godzilla's better than King Kong, I can tell you that. And Godzilla should stomp King Kong. They did make this movie a long time ago, Godzilla versus King Kong, and there were actually 2 different endings. In the American version, of course, guess who wins? King Kong. And the Japanese version, Godzilla wins. So I don't know if they're going to pull something similar to that now. I don't think they would, but obviously they have to really do something to boost and jack King Kong up to even be competitive. So I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of nonsense. I'm sure it'll be a fun movie, but I'm going to be pissed if King Kong wins this. If anybody wins, maybe it'll be a draw so we can have King Kong 2 Rumble in the Jungle. But Godzilla is just, there is no defeating Godzilla. Godzilla is going to singe King Kong's ass off. He is going to be an assless monkey who got his tail burned off, and he's going to run all the way back to Skull Island and run to his mommy's bones, his mommy and daddy's bones in that weird little valley there, because no one beats Godzilla. Well, that's it this week. Just a little history of King Kong Godzilla. My opinions and excitement on the upcoming movie. I believe it comes out around March 25th. I know HBO Max is going to have it at some point. Highly recommend HBO Max, by the way, if you don't currently have it. It's a great pandemic tool to watch movies. I miss movies in the theater. It's one of my favorite things, going to the movies at least once a month. It's one of the things I really, really have hated missing out on in the last year. And movie theater popcorn, I will eat buckets of it until I just feel disgusting and swear I'll never eat it again in the following month. Just shoveling in my mouth again. I can't wait. I can't wait till I'm eating Godzilla-sized portions of movie theater popcorn. And maybe I'll get a chance to see this movie in the theaters if they'll bring it back or not. I don't know. But King Kong versus Godzilla, let's all tune in at the end of the month and celebrate the greatest monster, the king of the monsters. And let's watch that monkey's ass get burned off. I'll see you next week on Eric and Horror Stories.